All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Canhammer, your source for 40K from the Great White North. I actually haven't said that in a long time. I'm not sure. That used to be like the thing, like, the tagline for us. And have not said that in a while. So there it is. Your source for 40K from the Great White North. All right. We got Hans Yolo here. Howdy. Adam Davies, sometimes known as Scotch and Rocks from the Discord. He's here. Welcome, guys. And tonight is Custodes Tactica episode 76. We're going to be talking about last night's game, hot takes, first impressions of both the game as well as Custodes and some Necrons. And that's what the topic is tonight. Samuel Chambers, hello from UK. That is currently 1 a.m. So thank you very much for joining at 1 a.m. It was a game that you can watch in full on the stream from last night. Just the very video before this stream will be last night's game against Phil and his Necrons. That was my first game of 10th edition, and Phil had played a number of games already, but still very new. So it took us a while. I think we played for 3 full hours. While it felt like it was still a grind, I'm pretty sure it'll be a lot quicker once we get into the swing of things. I have to figure out all the cards, and of course I don't have my cards yet, and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of cool. In terms of the game, I mean, sure, it is simpler, but then kind of the same, because you still have to remember just as much stuff. Just now we all name all the rules the same thing. But you still have to remember that you had it. I think in the first 2 turns I forgot about Custodes. And so all new edition, stuff like that. It's kind of weird to use the cards again. I thought we had seen the last of that a long time ago, but apparently not. But it's kind of cool to use the cards again. The cards are kind of very familiar things that we've had to do before as secondaries. Now they are cards, so that's cool. I am getting a new set of terrain for this edition. This set is going to go back to Dan, but I don't have that yet. And we just played player placed like we have been doing, although we have not tried any of the GW loadouts yet. But from what I've heard, if you do GW loadouts, make sure you have proper terrain, not GW terrain, because apparently GW terrain sucks, which is nothing new. So we'll be adapting. My overlay needs to be changed, but I'm not really sure how to change it yet because I hadn't even played a game. So now I have a fair idea how we need to change it, and we'll see if we can get that done. We were just keeping like 1 score in the CP for the overlay last night. So the game plays very similar to it used to. There are definitely some small changes that caught us off guard. I mean, Adam Davies is from Tasmania. Wow. I don't even know what time it is there, but thanks for joining in. So we were having a discussion yesterday about Overwatch. So you can Overwatch even after you've gotten into engagement if you have pistols, because it says at the beginning or end of those kind of moves, which is interesting. And then there was, this issue of the Terminators being able to come down on turn 1 because the Veil can do that. And there's some... Anyway, we'll talk about when we talk about Terminators. But yeah, there's obviously a lot of new stuff, and I was mostly at fault for this, holding on to stuff we knew from 9th, which maybe no longer applies to 10th. Let's get right into it. So I was playing against Phil. His Necron list was basically a whole bunch of characters. Every unit had like a character. So like Overlords and Superlords and Underlords. I don't know what all the different lords are. Some guy Oberyn. There's some little guy that Overwatched on 2-up. The Reanimator kind of War of the Worlds robot thing. There must have been a Technomancer somewhere in there, a Pyromancer, some kind of Mancer. There was those stupid Crypto Thralls, which are super annoying. like super annoying. There were like Destroyer Lords and Destroyer Necro Lords and all sorts of that kind of stuff. Every unit had its own leader, and in fact, the Lich Guard units, so there were 2 units of 10 Lich Guard, and they each had multiple leaders. So you can look back on the stream, on the Discord chat, when I called character stars from 7th coming back, it's already begun. So Lich Guard unit with multiple characters. Guess what? -1 to hit, -1 to wound, 4 up feel no pain. Ridiculous unit. There it is. Character star already starting. Mark my words, it's gonna get worse. So, yeah. So, and then a bunch of like anti-infantry destroyers, and then 1 unit of like 6 damage destroyers, like a whole ton of destroyers. 20 Lich Guard, 1 unit of little like monkey flay things. And that was the list, basically. It was basically crazy shooty with 2 unkillable Lich Guard units in the front. That's basically the list. My list is here. And this is my first 10th edition list that I wrote as a try everything kind of list. And so I played it just to try lots of different things. And so we'll talk about at the end what changes I want to make, if I want to make any right now. Obviously, disclaimer, these are hot takes. I've played 1 game of 10. Obviously, I've been following along what everyone else has been playing, but I played 1 game of 10 only. And so this is hot takes, initial impressions, but yeah, obviously need to play more games. So, first things first, let's just go over some general things that I noticed here. Oh yeah, so obviously I won last night by the skin of my teeth. 81 to 80. So very close game, and it basically came down to like, I don't know, obviously it comes down to a lot of things, but just 1 point difference. So 81 to 80 win for me last night, and I feel like Phil played a little bit, like he said, he was respecting the Custodes, but he played a little bit unaggressive. He let me control the middle, and instead of him controlling the middle and just shooting me off the board. And so whereas I thought I was going to get tabled by turn 2 or 3, I ended up just pushing, keeping him in his zone and pushing in there. And I hardly killed anything. I killed the flayed ones. I killed 1 unit of destroyers, luckily, on the first turn. And I killed like some Lich Guard. And like that's it. Like I literally didn't kill anything else. At the end of my game, I had my Cladius left on 2 wounds. I had the Galatis, and I had 1 Alaris left, and that's it. So I had 3 models left at the end, and I pulled out a 1-point victory. So it was a super tight game, and yeah. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, Necrons, I mean, you know, we've all been hearing about the crazy warrior spams. That's also a super boring way to play, but probably good. And 10 Lich Guard with multiple characters is stupid. -1 to hit, -1 to wound, and 4 up feel no pain, like double reanimations, like, and then they do a ton of attacks at -2 AP, only 1 damage, but it kind of whittles you down. And then the characters do damage, like the Overlord or Oberyn or whatever was like 3 damage guy. So, you know, it's like those units are crazy. I put in like the 3rd or 4th round, I put 4 Wardens, Shield Captain, 2 Guardians, Blade Champion, and the Galatis into 1 unit of Lich Guard with all the characters. I managed to kill the Crypto Thralls. They soak up so much damage, and then they just resurrect. And then I had to use the Blade Champ with the precision to just barely kill the guy that was giving them the feel no pain. And then I killed like maybe half of that unit in the end, and not the character, with all of that. On the other side of the board, I had 5 Guardians and Trajan doing 12 attacks, all into another Lich Guard unit. And I think I killed 7 of them, and then like 6 of them came back. Like Trajan was beasting it. He killed like 6 of them himself. I think the Guardians only killed like 1 guy. Like 4 up feeling the pain is stupid all the time. Yeah, Wardens can get it 1 time. So when that Lich Guard unit fought my Wardens with the Lord and everything, they killed like 1.5 Wardens. So, you know, and I put all the buffs on just for fun. But yeah, so Lich Guard, like, just crazy. Anyway, okay. So, some general impressions about our army so far. We're obviously strong in melee. Lethal hits and sustained hits on our volume of attacks is quite good. It definitely makes up for the loss of reroll ones to hit. Definitely makes up for that. Exploding sixes and lethal hits makes up for it for sure. And so your captains giving both of those makes it really good because then you sustain hit those auto wound and then you can roll maybe the same number again into wounds. So it's pretty good. And Captaris is great. I mean, I just defaulted to Captaris every single round yesterday just to survive. But -1 to hit in combat is great. Really blunts the attack. So we are strong in melee. 5 attacks each with the spears, and then you get an Avenge in there for 6. Shield Captain was rocking 8 attacks. Trajan popped it for 12 attacks. The Glatas has 8 attacks. Like, we are kicking some butt in combat. 7 -2 damage. I really did miss that AP3, I gotta say. But -2, you know, it is what it is. We got a ton of attacks. Avenge the Fallen is amazing still. And so we do seem decently tough. There's less AP out there, although it seemed like everything was AP2 yesterday. But there's less AP out there. We're 2 up, 4 up. Wardens are very tough with the 4 up Feel No Pain 1 time. And the -1 to wound when you're attacking higher strength on them is like so good. -1 to hit in combat. So Wardens are definitely tough. We do seem tough. CP was not an issue yesterday, but there was that mission rule that gave us a CP on a 4 up. However, I fluffed that 3 out of 5 turns, so I didn't feel like CP was a big problem. The only thing that's a little bit of a problem is using Arcane Genetic Alchemy, which is 2 CP. If you can get that for free with the Shield Captain, that's nice. But yeah, I didn't feel like CP was a huge problem for like at least 2 of the turns. I had like 4 CP, and I could just throw it on things. We'll talk about the stratagems as well later. The katas are very good, as I already talked about. We can play the mission really well. So the sticky objective stratagem really helps us low model unit count army hold stuff while still doing stuff. That's really good stratagem. I used that 2 or 3 times yesterday to good effect. Sticky objective stratagem. And we seem to play the mission well if you run that way. So like the 2-man Alaris were good, Venatari could do work. So I think we seem to play the mission pretty well. Oh, I forgot to say Guardians with reroll wounds is gross. Trajan with reroll wounds is super gross. And Trajan, and we'll talk about Trajan in a minute, but okay. Character bullshit. The next thing I was going to try anyway was the Vindicare. Remember, I was talking on the Discord whether I should drop like the Dreadnought and try Vindicare, but I decided since it was in my list, I would try it first. But man, like those characters are obnoxious, especially when you got multiple in a unit. You know, character start all over again. So I don't know if the Vindicare would have helped take any of those out because these guys all heal and everything, but your average army, it might be like a mandatory thing. We'll have to see. I have to play more games against different factions, but yeah, super annoying. Okay. Spears are very good. Missed the AP3. No reroll hits feels bad, but sustained hits helps for sure. And, you know, this weird thing where we kind of seem like we're pretty fast, but we're also slow. So like the Alaris jumping around is like, makes you seem fast. Venatari, I guess, are fast. Advancing charging Blade Champ unit is fast. But then we're kind of slow. Everything's 6. The Galactus is super slow at 6 inch. It took him 3 turns just to move to the middle. Having to go around all the buildings. The tank is much slower than it was before. 10 inch is a significant drop in mobility. So, like, in some ways it seems like we're fast because we push the middle pretty easily, but in other ways we seem like we're slow. It's kind of a weird dichotomy. So yeah, the game is still kind of grindy, but we'll see as if that speeds up as we get more used to it. You need big terrain, just like you did in ninth. In fact, you might need bigger terrain from what I hear. So get your terrain in gear. Don't go to Adepticon. It's even worse. And the secondaries seem like they're flexible. It's a little bit annoying. You pick cards that you can't do. You have to keep picking through, and it's like a lot of like administration work. I don't really want to do administration when I'm playing a game, but anyway. A lot of things require clarifying and FAQ, like a lot of things. Some things are just being assumed. Some things are being raw. Like I think like just a lot of questions need to be answered. Okay. So let's get into unit reviews. First person to review, Blade Champion. So I'm going to say up front that I did not really get to use the Blade Champion much. The Guardian, all they got to do was kill 5 flayed ones, which the Guardians did easily. The Blade Champ ended up picking off the Technomancer in that Lich Guard unit, which meant they lost their Funeral Pain. So that was useful with the Behemoth precision attacks, although we barely did it with -2 damage and a Funeral Pain. And then the guy resurrected with like 2 wounds left for 1 CP. So that was annoying, but probably he would be good, and definitely advance in charge with the rerolls was nice. So Blade Champion staying in for more games, 100 points, like you can't complain. And then he definitely loves reroll wounds. That's super nice. I was looking out for opportunities to use the heroic, but I did not get opportunities yesterday. But yeah. So putting him with Guardians to make the Guardians fast, and then he benefiting from the reroll wounds, super nice. Which I think I forgot actually. And then like Kaptaris to make him tougher, and then giving him sustained and lethal, like it's all good. Okay, next is the Shield Captain. So I feel like the Shield Captain is really good. Shield Captain for 120 points with Avenge is like 8 attacks, 7 without. The wounds are a little bit low. 6 wounds is a bit squishy. No Funeral Pain or anything. 2 up, 4 up. But, T6 yesterday anyway made a huge difference because everything was strength 6 yesterday. And T7 on the Terminators made a huge difference as well. So that extra pip of toughness is good. We'll have to play obviously more games, but it seems like it was useful. So Shield Captain giving you double, so you're always going to be -1 to hit in combat, plus either sustained or lethal hits, and then 1 time per game just slapping it all on. Good with any of our units, I think, but on the Wardens was great. And then that 0 CP free strat every round is so clutch. It means you have like an extra 1 or 2 CP every round. It's really good. You have to use it after you've already used the other one. Otherwise, you can't use the other one. So you have to use the Captain one second to fully benefit from being able to use the same stratagem twice. And because of activation and when stratagems were activated, could not double down on, say, Arcane Genetic Alchemy, because you have to use that when you're targeted. So, it's so good. Even if it's the only unit left, just free Arcane Genetic Alchemy, like so good. So that alone is worth captains. And if Blade Champ doesn't work out, there's 2 captains. Easy decision. 2 captains. Or triple captain. But then we come to Trajan. So Trajan is a steal at 145. I'm telling you, that thing was underpriced. Don't tell anybody. But Trajan is a steal at 145. He's a little bit squishy, but I actually totally forgot he still had Funeral Pain. I forgot I think he still has Funeral Pain. I think he's a 5-up Funeral Pain. But yeah, so he's a little bit squishy. Obviously, you can pop the 2-up invuln if you really need to, but like, how can you do that when you can do 12 attacks? Or fight first. Because you can fight first him with his ability, you can use fight first stratagem, and then you can 0 CP fight first against you. You could make 3 units fight first in 1 turn. That's crazy. And actually, you could double fight first, 2 separate units the rest of the game every round. So Trajan, but yeah, that 12 attack's so good. I mean, he killed like 6 Lich Guard just by himself because it's the high strength AP. I think he lost an AP. I think he went to AP2, which is a little bit annoying. But 3 damage, hitting on 2s, and re-rolling all wounds thanks to Guardians. Really good. Now, this specific situation last night with -1 to hit, -1 to wound was really good to ignore those modifiers. Super good, but it didn't help us kill that unit anyway. But I can see how that could be really good. Trajan is a beat stick, but not super hard to kill, so watch out. But yeah, good deal for 145, and yeah. Okay, Guardians are Guardians. They did fine. They're pretty tough. Reroll wounds, super nice. And then because you also have like Slayers. Now yesterday there were no monsters vehicles, so I didn't use any of those things. But yeah, super good. High volume of attacks. You lose one guy. Now you got 6 attacks each for sustained and lethal hits. Like, it's super good. Guardians are good. I think 5-man is a nice nice unit size. But even 2 guys left did quite a lot of stuff. And so, yeah, I don't think there's too much to say about Guardians. I didn't even... so yesterday, nothing was shooting anything because the Necrons, like, impossible to shoot them with small arms fire. I was wounding on 6s, so I'm like, yeah. Until we talk about the Custodes. Okay, Alaris. So Alaris were good. Like I said, that T7 was surprisingly clutch. Because all the strength 6 stuff was wounding on 5s, and you know, hit a few lucky 4-ups and they survived the 3 damage, and 1 damage just wasn't doing much to them. I actually made a mistake. I used the Golden Light twice because I forgot I'm going to use it once, but anyway, it didn't really influence the game much. But that's a super useful stratagem. And you know, if you have to pay for 2 Alaris just to sit on the back objective the whole game, I think that's still worth it. They're very, very useful, and then later in the game you can golden light them somewhere when there's less screening. Phil did a good job of screening yesterday, so I didn't get anybody really into his deployment zone. So I just put them at the back, and they were screened for me and held my back line. And then when they had to leave, they just stick the objective and left. And they're tough enough and killy enough to go do stuff by themselves. Obviously, I didn't really get to use the character and vehicle thing with them yesterday, so we don't know about that. But that's obviously useful when it's useful. But yeah, so I think 2x2 Alaris is nice. I do need to try a big unit, although with Guardians and Wardens, I'm not sure you really need to. I'd rather use them as in this kind of way. The question is, do I need 2 units? And then the other question is, do I need 2 units of those and a unit of Venatari? So we will see, because the Venatari are way more expensive. But we'll see. Okay, so yeah, so 2 units of 2 Alaris. We'll see if that gets cut into... I mean, 2 units of 2 Alaris is almost just a little bit more than 1 unit of 3 Venatari, right? So, yeah. Okay, Custodes. Okay, so the Custodes definitely was good. Like, we wanted the Custodes to be anti-vehicle shooting. When we saw the datasheet, we're like, okay, this fills that role. And it definitely was good shooting. So those 4 shots, although no rerolls, so you can really kind of fluff on that. But like, first turn, just picked off 3 destroyers, no problem. Did 22 damage in total. And 6, 8, and 8, and it was great. And so you could definitely do some big damage, or you could do very little damage. You could do like 6 damage if you roll just badly. So keep that in mind. I didn't get to use its abilities because I wasn't shooting any vehicles and monsters. But yeah, the range is good. It is a lot slower than it used to be. And the other thing I figured out yesterday, against small arms attacks, actually is very durable. And it survived the whole Lich Guard Lord unit 2 rounds in combat to stay on that middle objective for me, and to tie up that unit left with 2 wounds at the end. So with the 2-up armor now, it's that much more durable, T11, but it is a lot slower, which you can definitely feel. And yeah, I mean, we can expect all our anti-tank shooting to do flat damage because that's what the Necrons do, so why shouldn't we? I think expectation is fair, but it's not. But still, I think it's what we got, and I think it's okay. The Lastrum cannon is useless, and now it's gone down to 3 attacks. Like, it felt pretty useless yesterday. It probably killed a few guardsmen, like, sure. But yeah, I think it's mostly the big gun, and the blaze was definitely good. 215 points, I think, is fair. And now you don't have to babysit it with a reroll character. So, yeah. And it's also -1 to hit in combat with Captaris. So that's kind of fun. Makes it even a bit tougher to kill in combat. And of course, it can shoot out of combat. So I think the Custodes is good. I think 2 Custodes is probably good. I think 3 Custodes is probably too many. So I think 1 or 2, as I said before, is probably the sweet spot. Okay, Doris, the Galatas. So the Galatas was something I put in, but I think it would be the first thing to drop, and I think I might drop it or give it one more game. The Galatas, when it got there, was good. I mean, the Flamer was useless, but the 8 attacks, 3 damage, like, it was good. It didn't... Phil was too distracted to shoot at it with the 6 damage because it probably would have just went up in smoke instantly. So I don't know how tough it is. In combat, nothing really threatened it, so whatever. -1 wound in combat, sure. But it definitely smacks. I mean, it definitely smacks. Strength 8 is nice. However, it is so slow. 6 inches is a big nerf. It doesn't maybe seem that much on paper, but man, that thing is slow and it has to go around everything. And so you end up moving and advancing, moving and advancing. Turn 3 minimum, it's doing something. Now, you might think, well, that's not too different from our dreads before, but I mean, that 2 inches is 2 inches, you know? It just feels really slow and has to go around everything, and we all need heavy tables so we don't get shot off the board. Like, I don't know. It seems a bit slow, so I think it would be the first thing that I drop. Only 175 points, but yeah, it's just a bit slow. That's the biggest thing I noticed about Doris. It couldn't get there. It was key in the end. When it got there, it did its thing, but yeah. Okay, so that's the Galatas. Wardens. Okay, the Wardens were great. They are the push up the middle bully unit with a character. They can be so survivable with -1 to hit. You got your -1 damage strat. Everything is -1 to wound on it natively. Anything that's going to actually threaten to kill them. Then you can pop that 4-up Feel No Pain. 4-up Feel No Pain. If you haven't experienced it yet, this is an obnoxious rule, and probably we should get rid of it. I'm going to say that as somebody who benefits from it once a game. It is obnoxious. Nobody should have a 4-up Feel No Pain. And definitely, Lich Guard should not have it on all the time. It's crazy. But yeah, it's a stupid rule that needs to be get rid of. But we get the benefit from it once per turn, and basically very hard to kill us. 6 guys, they do a lot of attacks back, especially with Avenge the Fallen. And then you res one guy for a CP, like, and the captain's there, giving them all the Kata stances. Like, they're really good. And I think you run them 6-man all the time, just push them up with a leader to the middle and bully the middle, get area denial, get your no man's lands. There's at least like 2 or 3 secondaries that need you to control no man's land. They can pop into one quarter or another for the engage. So just hold the middle, area denial, like, super good. So I think that's a good start of a list. Okay, and finally, Venatari. So I'm going to say that this was not the game for Venatari. I was screened out the whole game, so I just brought them down to hold an objective so I can move off of it. They got wiped out by Lich Guard without doing anything. Everything was lethal to it. They did not have enough firepower or melee to kill anything in this game. So this was not the game to assess Venatari, so I'm going to hold assessment of them for now. The point of the Venatari is to be a mobile, rapid ingressing for free harassment unit to do secondaries and to maybe pick some stuff off and bounce around with fallback, shoot, and advance and charge. They did not get to do any of that yesterday, and so that was 235 points wasted. They are a lot of points. So in my mind, they got to do the same as 2 units of 2 Alaris Terminators, which I don't know if they can do that or not. I'm not sure if you need 2x2 Alaris and a unit of Venatari. That's what I got to figure out. But I do want to give them a proper try against an army that is actually killable, and see what happens. But yeah, so jury's out still on the Venatari. When they did attack the Lich Guard, I think they did like 2 wounds or something. But everybody was like that. So there it is. the reviews of my units from last night. Okay. In the chat, we got Alaris freaking good. 2x2 is an auto take. Only time I change, replace one of the 2-mans with a 5-man and a captain. Yeah, I feel like the Alaris captain is the least useful of our leaders, unless you are actually running a big unit of Terminators, in which case it's the only leader you could take. But if you could take a different leader to go with the Terminators, you wouldn't take the Alaris captain, I tell you that. So, yeah. Okay, so questions in the chat, guys. If you have some questions, I'll go to the Discord question channel here, and let's go. Where's the question channel? Here it is, question channel. Okay, there's only a few questions here. 3 things you like about the new game. So I do like USRs. Like, we have to remember the rule anyway. But if we all call them the same thing, then we all can communicate quicker. So if I have exploding 6s and it's called this, and you have exploding 6s and it's called that, you have to explain to me that yours is just exploding 6s. Whereas if I just say that we have sustained hits, now everybody knows what I mean. Some of these things we already used, Feel No Pain, Deep Strike, Infiltrators. We used all those rules in 9th just because it was easier, and so now we have it back to that way. So I guess I like that. I like these little card things. You know, the index cards and stuff like that. I think that's cool, very useful. Although, you know, if you have a lot of units, you end up with all these cards. Now, ultimately, you won't need to use those anymore. But, you know, it's useful. I like the fact that everybody's on even footing now, although some factions obviously better than others, and they're in the process of fixing that. Otherwise, I gotta tell you, the game is very similar. It's very similar. Battle Shock wasn't really a thing yesterday. We had 2 very good leadership armies. Oh, the thing I didn't talk about, so OC. So multiple times last night, having 2 OC was a deal, a big deal. And then having the Vexilla in the Warden unit was a big deal. Multiple times last night. Even the Galactus having whatever 4 or whatever was a big deal. Like OC, big deal. And I actually really like that. You just take the OC and just add it up. Forget about this OBSEC and I out-OBSEC you and his number of models and I take it away and you give it and forget all that. So that Warden unit, obviously there's no reason not to take the Vexilla in the Warden unit, give you extra OC and give you OC if you get Battle Shocked. But yeah, you know, I would think about it in the Guardian unit if it's the unit that you're not using to go kill stuff. Definitely, if you're running a bigger unit, you should definitely take the Vexilla. But yeah, like that OC was clutch a number of times. Yeah, so okay, 3 things to like about the new game. So yeah, so I like the new OC thing. I think that's way cleaner than the whole objective secure and all that stupid stuff from before. The fight first and combat and charging was supposedly simplified and clarified, but it has not been. It is equally the same. And in fact, now if you have a unit that's fight first and a unit that's fight first, they don't want to fight each other because whoever goes in actually ends up losing. So they just stand there. And yeah, it's like, it's kind of the same as it was before, except they just changed the name of things. So yeah, that's kind of weird. Yeah, okay. How required do you feel Infiltrate Scout is from Assassins? Well, I think you can take the Assassins for what they do. I don't think I would take them for Infiltrating Scout. I don't think Infiltrating Scout is that needed in a game that's with such a small table, actually. And with the secondaries the way they are, yeah, I don't think it's a big deal. I certainly wouldn't take an Assassin just for Infiltrator Scout. Did you remember to gambit? No, we decided not to gambit. I didn't think like I needed to gambit. Yeah, I mean, it ended up a 1-point game. So, yeah. I don't know. Maybe we'll just try it for fun next time. I don't know. MSU, big bricks, or somewhere in between. Yeah, so I think it depends on the unit. Actually, I don't think we need the big bricks right now. I think we just kind of similar unit sizes that I was running. I think I would run all these units in exactly these sizes. Maybe you have flexibility on the Guardians, but I think, yeah. I think you just run smaller units. level of excitement to play more games. You know what? Like, I'll be honest with you guys. I haven't played 10th edition until last night because I've been busy, number one. I've been playing a lot of Diablo, like 72 hours of it already. And because I heard all this stupid shit about, Eldar and towering and all this stuff, and I was like, it's like a beta. Like, wait till they fix it, right? Wait till they fix it. Wait till they sort it out. We're literally beta testing it, and they're fixing it as they go. But last night's game was fun and super tight, so I'll play some more. However, next week I'm on call. Then I'm away for 3 weeks on vacation. So you probably won't see another game for a month. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. But, yeah, I'm definitely not leaving the hobby yet. Okay. Epic moment from your game. I'm not sure there was any super epic moments. Yeah, nothing too epic. It was just like a game of 40k, nothing too epic, no crazy, unexpected results. Yeah. Yeah. And following WTC at all. I'm not following all their rules because they're basically obliged to make their own rules because GW has left so much unanswered, and they have one of the world's biggest tournaments in like 4 weeks after the release of an edition that's literally not finished. So I don't blame them for doing what they have to do to make it run. Yeah, they have to do what they have to do. What surprised you in your game? Actually surprised me how tough we were. I thought it was gonna, Phil could have tabled me probably, but we're pretty tough. Also, I expected us to be super killy, and so after Trajan and the guard unit went into the Lich Guard, and after the Warden and the Captain went in to the middle Lich Guard unit, I thought to myself, okay, any other unit in the game would have just got wiped easily. Maybe even split these guys and wipe multiple units. I remember playing that last game of 9th where that 10-man Warden literally killed like 3 units by splitting 3-3-3. I'm like, this would be even worse. This would be even killier with more attacks and reroll wounds or, the sustained or lethal hits. Like, we're actually way more killy than we were in 9th. And I was just thinking after I killed, no Lich Guard, I'm like, any other unit, the Wardens put, 41 wounds on. Just, 4 guys. If that was a full unit, that would have been 60 wounds. It's crazy. There's nobody surviving that, but unless you're Lich Guard with multiple character star. Mark it here. So yeah, I was surprised actually at how much damage, and that was without any rerolls. Okay, those are questions from there, and that's it. So, okay guys, that was just a quick show tonight. So if you're watching and you're still waiting to sign up for CCBB, do not wait. Time is running out. We need more people. So sign up, 40k Age of Sigmar, 40k doubles. Do sign up. If you're watching and you were interested in the board game events, sorry to say I have canceled them all today as there was almost no interest, and I overestimated the community's desire to play games competitively. I guess board gamers just don't want that. I don't know why, but anyway. So we're left with the big events, so do sign up. You can sign up for all 3 Warhammer events on BCP. Check out the website ccbb.ca. Otherwise, I will see everybody next time. Thank you very much for joining, and catch you later.